Hey out there, viewers, fans, and subbies all the same, and welcome to the 800 subscriber special. Props to the Rodimus Prime, yours truly. Thanks for being here with me as we manage to reach a new milestone in the YouTubing journey, you know what I'm saying? Alright, here to keep this something very different, and I guess in order to compensate for timing, I went on ahead and decided to have the focal point of this particular subscriber special, instead of it being a video game, to be formally what the core hub of my YouTube channel and my Google Plus media page was once upon a time, before I got more involved in the YouTubing industry. This is my original page, in which I created with more for Matrix Encryption, a lot of other communities I was associated with, and of course the original The Problems for Helpers 2.0 community that was founded by me and Sergeant Mac, Blitzkrieg Mac, and ZZ. Our faces are actually right there on the link page right here. But that was a community where me, him, and her had successfully and effectively helped out hundreds of thousands of people all over the world in just everyday problems: suicidal, bipolar, depression, sadness, happiness. A lot of things that people could and could not handle. The three of us got together and always tried to see if we could help out and make a difference. And we were doing that for a good 2 or 3 years before about 2014, 2015-ish or so. Overall, I'd say that's a pretty good run. It's 2 or 3 years of making a difference all over the world. The rest of my page also incorporates some fan art and incorporated a lot of specific quotes and things that I would also incorporate outside of my poetry pieces for people to read that could also give inspiration. I'm going to take you now to a page for one of my friends. She was also one of my people that wanted to promote and help promote my poetry pieces. She's been friends with me online for several years here. Crazy types. Her name is Brianna, I believe. She posts a lot of personal things about herself, but has only certain people that she wants to respond back to, that she feels really comfortable being around. Right now her page is still somewhat active, until whatever it is that happens with Google Plus's possible shutting down process. She posts a lot of very provocative and very sexually themed images and things upon her Google Plus page, which is always very interesting to gawk at. Some people probably even sit fat to it for all I care. I usually try to place a comment every now and again if it's on an intriguing one or an intriguing post that may correlate to real life. But outside that, whenever it is I'm online, she always reaches out and tries to find me first in order to tell me about her day. She has a very intriguing series of posts and a very interesting perspective on the world that I always do like hearing. There's another one of our friends, Akumi the Reaper. She's another otaku, and another person also from the personal helpers community that was also trying to find her way and eventually did find her way. And then we ended up talking and being really good friends as she goes over a lot of stuff relevant to Pokemon Go and other media relevant things. Back over here to my page, this was another poem that I will also be sharing. A lot of the poems that are here, I'm also going to share them on Facebook, but I'm also going to go over some of them here. That way people have an idea on where they originally came from before I go ahead and post a lot of them on Facebook. This one here was a poem I wrote about Android 18 that I wrote for Lapis Lazuli. She's a Google Plus writer and also an upcoming YouTuber in her own right, if not hell, a YouTuber already in her own right. She's creating and has been creating a lot of successful Dragon Ball Z AMVs and some Ranma 1/2 AMVs. Anywho, let me see if I can't recite this a little bit from what it is I have here. And everybody else on Facebook, hey, sit tight, you'll be able to see this also. I like the simple things in life, like money or fighting. 18. By Rodimus Prime 86, also known as yours truly. There was once a blonde woman, the end result of an experiment. Beautiful, yet overly powerful, just like the right peppermint. Not her attraction, but domination is her way to convince any gent. Friendship with her is a relationship usually on thin ice, except for a select few out there that have named a good price. Even if it's not money, should she have to tell someone twice. Yep, I'll say now, my life with all of that is very nice, as stated by Krillin. Poetry, peace, conclusion. Next up here was a nice older poem that I made years back. You can also see on here, I have Blake Nikos on here. Blake Nikos is one of my YouTube partners on YouTube now. When he first started making his general reviews about animes and social media reviews online. He was one of the first ones to actually comment on this poetry piece that I made years ago. It was a poem that I made about Steven Universe. I won't recite this one as it was actually already previously recited in a past poetry memoir that I had debuted on YouTube a long time ago. The link will be listed above, and you can get a chance to see for yourself when I had first talked about this. Now, this poem piece, however, I will get ready to recite. This is one I made about Colonel Roy Mustang from Fullmetal Alchemist, the anime series. This one was written very well, and it was very well appreciated by many anime communities online through Google and Pinterest when I first wrote this. So I will also get a chance to go over this here. I'll also create it on Facebook for those reading along to also read it. Any thoughts or comments, by all means, list them down below. Each poetry reading that I have here is going to be in a certain section, which I will mark by a time indicator if you want to read a select poem. Thank you. In service. It stands as a funeral pyre in cinders all around. By snapping his fingers, Roy's concentration is never sound. While a womanizing jackass at heart, he remains duty-bound. He stands united as a top dog in the military, a bloodhound. As a head in the state alchemists around several rounds. When you hear that noise, it's the end of the game. As you get charred in combustion instantly, I see no shame. It's been beaten by the best. Wait, what? No, that's really lame. Watching his combat is something for all whose time is not to toy, and yet dreaming of tiny miniskirts is his likely sole personal joy. Not that I blame him for such thoughts here. I won't be coy. Rather than my eyes, I keep my ears alert for when that name pops up in combat. The Flame Alchemist. Thy name, Roy. Poetry, peace, conclusion. Let me see. This next piece I know I already shared over to Facebook and to Pinterest, actually. It caught a lot more interest on Pinterest for the lack of lulz. I remember Jennifer Spam first originally commented on this, thought it was a very interesting poem to write something about nothing, but it still ended up being pretty smooth for the most part. So let me settle in here and I'll also read this while I'm here. It's not a relatively long poetry piece, but it is one that does allow you to think a little bit. Okay. Start Your Daydreaming Melonhead by Rodimus Prime 86, better known as Moi. Rolling my eyes over here, and for what? I see you here, and yet to the chase we need to cut. I'm looking at your face, looking like Jell-O, something to which I rarely say hello. All of which hardly leaves me feeling mellow. I want to suddenly roar at you like a bellow. Why? Why all of this, you say? Well, I get bored a lot. Probably too much. There's very little luck in this pot. I know something can help with this. Something that I've sought. My problem is that I feel tired of nothing and everything here. I know not where to look, except here, there, somewhere on your face. Poetry, piece, conclusion. And next we start into the next piece here. Unfortunately, I wish I could have a reading for this, but it's not completely here. It's not really complete anymore. Google Plus had deleted the first half of it that I created back in 2014, and I was only left here with the second piece that I created here in 2015. I'll write a brief thing about it on Facebook and on the comment section. I'll make my own little post in the comment section regarding exactly where the premise of the first part was. It was a long history from a whole other lifetime ago. Kananda Lapis here knows that story. She's another one of the people that I had mentioned earlier in my segment here. With her being back in the scene on social media, I'm going to be spending some more time talking to her here and there as I'm available, and as she's available, so we get a chance to actually reconnect after all these years. She's a very open and sociable otaku, and we've had a lot of conversations through the years. She's among one of the first people that I met on social media out here on Google and on Pinterest, and we've been friends ever since. She has a lot of nice things to always share and a lot of nice viewpoints and opinions about a lot of things that happen in everyday life. And I enjoy my time sitting and talking with her whenever we do have it. It's been a good 4.5, 5 years now and still going pretty strong. Last time I talked to her some time ago, she did also weigh in on her thoughts about this particular piece. So I will weigh in on the first part of this later on social media. And lastly but not least here is the poem that I made about the anniversary of Michael Jackson's passing, which was one of my earliest posts on Google Plus social media. This ended up being a very successful poetry piece for that time that it was created. I do intend to see if I can create another version of this poetry piece, and then upon making this piece, I'll go ahead and redistribute it to Facebook first, and then I will put it to YouTube. Alright, let me get ready to try and see if I can read this up here. On a musical saffron throne, long lives the king I declare, by Rodimus Prime 86, also known as yours truly. Not that long ago, a musical maestro ruled this planet's rhythmic beat. A great man with even greater music, running the records and CDs hot with the heat. You just don't know, I thought. I was so happy, even at times when I wasn't a positive Pete. During all the sadness that struck me, a passion somehow grew with this past greet. It helps at times still. The combos of Ray Charles, Luther Vandross, and Michael become such a life treat. My love for a man's natural talents and abilities cut through the fold like a knife. A noted strength of continued success that was always an encouragement to one's life. Out of teachings into such bliss and laughter, and through a solid river of tears and strife. A vision comes every so often that allows me to see things in that very special way. His music continues to create those brief moments of inspiration, even today. As long as I keep an ear out for the idea, come whenever it may. Very soon, be hell or high water, I'll have my day. Poetry. Peace. Conclusion. But It's not too bad for an 800 sub special, I believe. Thanks for getting a chance to sit and tune into a lot of my poetry pieces that I could have here and read with you over the past 7-8 years worth of Google Plus for what it does amount to. I wish I had a little bit more time to slap something together a little bit more judiciously for an 800 subscriber special, but I think I did okay for the most part. When I get around 900-ish or so, I'll see if I can't try and do another good video game special. Until then, you guys have a blessed one ahead. As always, till all are one.